You're watching Newsday TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ken Bufa. Only in Newsday, a $6.1 million settlement has been reached in the Cutchogue limo crash that killed 4 young women. Here's video from the 2015 scene. 8 women were on a winery tour celebrating an upcoming wedding. Court records show the families and survivors will get money from the limo company, its driver, manufacturer, and the town of Southold. And cops are offering a $5,000 reward to help find the man who attacked 2 elderly women. You're looking at a sketch of the man there. Police say he broke into 2 Mastic Beach homes and assaulted the women. He's described as dark-skinned, about 30 years old, and under 6 feet tall. Police are asking anyone with info to call Suffolk Crime Stoppers at 1-800-220-TIPS. And this Holbrook man pleaded guilty to a hate crime assault on Mother's Day. Prosecutors say Thomas Garrett Jr. attacked 2 women because of their sexual orientation. It happened at Mascot Dock in Patchogue. The 68-year-old man will be sentenced in December. And the jury is deadlocked on the top charge against Anne Marie Drago, who is being retried in the killing of an anti-gang activist, Evelyn Rodriguez. The jury found the Patchogue woman guilty on 1 charge of petty larceny. She was found not guilty of criminal mischief for removing the memorial of Rodriguez's daughter, who was killed by gang members. Deliberations on the top count of criminally negligent homicide will continue on Monday. Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan has now been dropped as a nominee for Speaker of the House. That's after 3 failed attempts to get enough votes. The conservative Republican and Trump ally was not able to win over many moderates in his party. 3 members of Long Island's congressional delegation voted no each time, and each time they cast ballots for the former Representative Lee Zeldin. Joining us now is Representative Nick LaLota. Now, you were involved in a closed-door ballot to drop Jordan as the nominee. What is it about Jordan that you don't like?
Well, it's not about the personality, it's about the policy. And I think if it was about the personalities, we'd probably never get to yes on any speaker. What I've said to anybody running for this office, whether it was Scalise or Jordan or Hearn or anybody else, is that my constituents matter most to me. But first and foremost, a continuing resolution or some other form to fund the government, to keep the government open while we pursue our commitment to America, while we hold the administration accountable, while we secure the border, while we reduce our debt, while at the same time, specifically locally, while working on SALT, while ensuring the World Trade Center health program gets funded, while the flood insurance program gets funded. These are the criteria I announced for weeks to any House candidate for Speaker. And Mr. Jordan had fallen short of making reasonable, solid, reliable commitments towards that. We were making some progress towards the end, but it seems like now that's off the table now that he's no longer a candidate for that office.
So let's expand on that. What do you and other Long Island Republicans want to see in the next Speaker of the House?
We want a reasonable Republican, a common sense conservative who doesn't view compromise as a bad word. That voters, in their wisdom, sent Republicans to control the House and Democrats to control the Senate, and a Democrat is in the White House. That we can't view the world just one way. That if you just slam your hand on the table and say, by God, it has to be one way, that's not going to get through the Senate. The president's not going to sign our budgets or bills. That I want a speaker who will fight like hell to ensure this administration is accountable, to ensure that future generations of America have the same opportunities that we do, to ensure that we secure the border, but that at the end of the day, we're going to make our case to the public, we're going to pass our bills, but we're going to need to compromise a little bit here and there. I want a practical, reasonable, and responsible Speaker of the House to represent me and my constituents in that endeavor.
So what would you tell your constituents and other Long Islanders who are watching what is going on in Washington?
You know, there's some blame to be assigned here. 8 Republicans, so-called conservative Republicans, set a fire 2 weeks ago, and 210 Democrats threw gasoline on that fire when we vacated the office of Speaker without a bona fide replacement. Everybody who did that knew they could reasonably predict that there would be a prolonged process to fill that chair.
Congressman LaLota, thank you so much for talking with us and talking to Long Islanders. Thank you for your time.
Thanks a bunch. Have a good day.
And only in Newsday, sewers and the Town Line Rail project are 2 of the biggest issues facing people in Smithtown. Macy Eglin and John Paul Salamanca explain why those issues are so important in our LI Vote special report.
We are here at Smithtown Town Hall with Newsday's Smithtown reporter John Paul Salamanca talking about the different issues that residents are really focused on as they head to the polls this November. And one big issue here in Smithtown is the latest sewer project going on in a few different areas within Smithtown. Tell us the latest on that, John Paul.
Well, basically, first off, we have pending sewer projects in Kings Park and St. James. Now, earlier this year, the town had a major boom by securing $13 million in federal funding for those projects. Our opponents have been saying that they've been questioning why it took so long to secure this funding.
Absolutely. Another debate in this area is the Town Line Rail Terminal project. You see signs for that all over town. What are the concerns with that? What's the latest there?
The latest right now is that the town is waiting for word from the Federal Surface Transportation Board, which is the regulatory agency there, on whether or not they'll be required, if this project is approved, to store hazardous materials that come in from these trains. Now, if this project is approved, it would allow Town Line Rail to be able to haul in materials such as construction debris, and a lot of those materials have been kind of a point of concern for residents out there. They're questioning how this project is going to affect their quality of life.
And there may be some eyes on the town board members who last year voted to increase their own pay.
That's right. Last year, the town board voted to give themselves 10% pay raises, and the supervisor's position received a little over 20% in terms of his pay raise. This year, in their proposed budget, they've once again proposed a new set of pay raises, each about 5% across the board for town board members, the supervisor, and I believe there's several staff that work with them.
All right. Thank you, John Paul.
Thank you.
Now, to read more about the issues in Smithtown and what matters in your community, go to Newsday.com, click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. And only in Newsday, a Billy Joel exhibit is coming to Stony Brook. The Long Island Music Entertainment Hall of Fame gave Newsday a sneak peek. Now, the exhibit will show memorabilia from all phases of his career. The creative director tells Newsday, Billy Joel is just like the rest of us.
Billy was just a guy from Long Island. He was like anybody else that lives next door to you, somebody you would see in the front yard, see walking down the sidewalk. But he went on to this great success.
The exhibit will open up on November 24th. All right, let's take a look at your Long Island weather and let's see if we still have rain for tomorrow. And yes, it does look like it, but it doesn't seem to be all day. Check it out. We have rain most of the day, but around 6 p.m., just clouds. Let's hope.
Long Island weather is brought to you by Home Tax Saver, PTRC Incorporated.
Daler Pride was on full display at the Newsday Marching Band Festival. Krista Kelman has more on the performance and how bands across the island are showing support.
With what happened, there are no words, but music helps us heal.
The healing continues for the Farmingdale Marching Band, a night for remembrance and celebration of life at the 59th Newsday Marching Band Festival gave the band an opportunity to perform its biggest show since the tragedy that struck just a month prior.
There's no doubt that the support that we've received from people on the outside has meant an immense amount to these kids.
The kids are so resilient, and our community is all here, as you can see, in support. All the green here tonight.
Green ribbons worn by hundreds of attendees and bands across Long Island incorporating Daler green into their attire to show their support and honor band director Gina Pelletieri and chaperone Beatrice Ferrari, who were killed in the bus crash that left more than a dozen students injured on their way to a weekend band camp.
There's a tremendous sense of pride and there's a legacy I think that those two angels, have left for our kids, and they want to be here and they want to celebrate them.
I know that Gina Pelletieri would have certainly wanted us to perform tonight.
These amazing women and educators will be remembered forever in the band's performances.
Farmingdale opened the festival with the Star-Spangled Banner, followed by a moment of silence. Later, their pride was on full display in this heartwarming performance.
There's no words to describe the emotions running through the stadium after Farmingdale's performance, but the standing ovation behind me shows just how impactful that Daler Pride is throughout Long Island.
There was school districts from Virginia, school districts from California that were reaching out to send their best and send their blessings, and every single time, one of those communities did that, it picked our kids up just a little bit.
In Uniondale, Carissa Kelman, Newsday TV.
What a display indeed. Now, to read more about the Farmingdale Marching Band, go to Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box.
Feed Me is brought to you by PC Richard & Son.
A Canadian cuisine is making its way across Long Island. Elisa DiStefano and Maria Elena Martinez check out a poutine food truck in today's Feed Me TV.
You could get a great meal on the side of 347 in Setauket. Our Newsday food writer, Maria Elena Martinez, she always knows where to go.
The poutineery! Do you know about poutine?
I don't, but I can't wait to learn.
Okay, so this is Craig Nadolny's truck. He is making original, authentic Montreal poutine.
So what is that?
Poutine comes from Canada. It is fries with gravy, and the key ingredient is cheese curds, which is unaged cheddar cheese. The gravy melts it, and it's the most amazing mess. I was on this street a while back. I did a U-turn when I saw this truck because there are no other trucks on Long Island serving poutine.
Are there different kinds?
Craig does all different kinds. The classic is just with curds and gravy. So this is the original.
Is it heavy?
Yes, are you kidding?
So you have to get like all the goodness on like
all of the pieces.
That's comfort food.
Amazing. So these from the truck are my favorite. I mean, and usually comfort food from a truck is the best kind. But there are plenty of other restaurants on Long Island that are serving it with curd. There's a place called Prime Burger Bar in Comac, which has a sister restaurant called Babylon Burger Bar, and they are doing with curds and original brown gravy.
So if you want to like sit down and eat,
yes.
maybe you try that.
At the Good Life in Massapequa Park, there's one with tots. And at Copper Hill, which is a really nice restaurant on our top 100 list in Roslyn, they do a breakfast poutine, and that's with hollandaise sauce.
Wow, that sounds really good too. All right, I'm getting filled up on this, so is there anything else we're going to try?
We are. Craig is going to give us a version with General Chow's chicken.
Ooh, I love that. Thank you.
This one's heavier.
Oh boy.
Oh, they're Chinese noodles.
Totally different flavor.
Completely.
Oh, it's got a little kick too.
It's that sweet and sour.
Yeah, sweet and sour.
It's really good. Now, while the Canadians would probably hate us for this version,
we love it. Whole different dining experience.
Stick with me.
And it all looks so good. Now, for more on local poutine, go to Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box.
When you're covering the courts, it's paramount that you get your information from a trusted source. I feel that at Newsday here, we're documenting Long Island history every single day.
Newsday, covering Long Island like no one else can.
You're watching Newsday TV. I'm Ken Buffa. Thank you so much for joining us. We leave you now with a look at your 7-day forecast.